These are the best settings in Black Ops Cold War. Yo, what's up? It's Elusive. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the best settings in Black Ops Cold War, and I'm also going to be going very into detail about the aim response curve type and target assist modes. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, then drop a like and sub if you're new, and let's get into it. I'm going to go into more in depth about the aim response curve type and the target assist modes at the end. So right now I'm just going to show my settings and what I run, and then I'm going to go into more depth about those after I show all my settings. Alright, so the first thing I'm running is horizontal sense. I got 7. For the vertical stick sense, I got 5. For my ADS low zoom, I got 0.8. For my ADS high zoom, I got 1.0. For my aim response curve type, I'm running dynamic. For my target assist mode, I'm running legacy. Oh yeah, I'm running tactical. I forgot to mention that. Alright, for the left stick minimum, for the left stick input, I'm running 5. This is how much pressure you have to put on your analog before it's registered in the game. So I'm running 5.5 for the minimum, and for the maximum I'm running 98 and 99, which I don't know why, but let's just put them both on 98. For the trigger dead zones, this is how much pressure you have to put on your trigger before it actually reacts. RT and LT, or L2 and R2. This is for how fast your character reacts when aiming down, sight, or shooting. So I run a 0.3 for this, a 0.03 I should say. I run prioritized reload, so if I ever have to reload and pick up a weapon or something, it'll prioritize my reload so I don't accidentally pick up a weapon while trying to reload. So if my weapon is full or it's completely out of ammo, then I'll just tap X and it'll interact with things, whether that's pick up a weapon or open a door or whatever, rather than reload. But say if I have to reload, it will prioritize reload over interacting with things. So if I have not a full clip and I tap X, it'll reload rather than open a door or pick up a weapon or anything like that. For the graphics, nothing really changes. You can change the colors of your friendly teammates and your enemies if you go to colorblind mode. All you have to do is adjust them. You don't really have to put on a colorblind mode. You can just change the colors. So say if you want to be yellow and have your enemies purple, then you could adjust that, change your allies to green. It's whatever you like the best and makes it to where you react faster when seeing an opponent. Then adjust the colors that best suits you. My brightness is 51 if you guys are interested in that. I run 120 hertz because I play on the Xbox Series X. My field of view is 110. Don't run anything under 100. Field of view is very important. It allows you to see enemies faster because you have a wider screen. If you're aimed in, your screen is slightly smaller than if you weren't aiming in. So that's why it'll be helpful to have a wider field of view. So if you're aiming in, you still have a wider screen than you would have if you were at 80, but it's going to be smaller than like 110 if you weren't aiming in. So that's why I say anything over 100 would be great. So I say anything between 100 and 120 is the best to run. I run affected. Independent aims in more and it zooms in more when you're aimed down sight, which kind of is a little bit more helpful if someone's like extremely far away and you're playing on a planetary sized map. But other than that, I wouldn't really run independent because it shrinks your screen and it'll remove your field of view, and it's kind of like you're on 80 FOV, which it's not very good unless you're trying to tunnel vision on a specific person. So that's how I run affected, because it slightly zooms in, but not to the point where I can't see my surroundings. Motion blur, turn it off if you have it on. There's no point in having it on. It's doing nothing but nerfing you. Audio, I run 90 master volume. Music volume, I run 20 because it's not that important. Sound effect, I run 90. Dialogue, which is people talking in the game, I run 80. I don't think it's as important as the master volume, the sound effects, and the cinematics. But dialogue is important because it'll call out streaks and other players will be like, enemy upstairs or something. They'll call out like things like that. So it's also very important to hear the characters in game. So that's why I didn't nerf it to where it should be at like the music volume, but I had it lower than the others. Cinematic, I have it on 90. For the audio presets, high boost, the best one. Hit marker sound effects enabled, of course. You want to know when you're shooting somebody. For the hit marker sound effect, you could choose classic or default. It's up to you. I just run classic for the more the old Black Ops sound effects. Enable voice chat, of course. All this is not very high. I have the voice chat volume on 1.4 so I can hear people's voices in game chat more without them being completely drowned out by the audio of gunshots and grenades and explosions and things like that. So that's why I boosted it up. For the speakers/headphones voice chat device, if you guys are like content creators and you're trying to record videos and you want to have people's voices in game chat, put it on speakers, because if you have it on headphones or a headset, you're hearing nobody in your recordings. So if you're running like Elgato or OBS, if you have it on headset, you're not hearing anyone, bro. Like, you can hear them in your headset, but your PC, whatever you're using to record, is not capturing their voice. It's only capturing yours. So if you want to capture people's voices in game chat for content and make it more funny, have it on speakers. Because if you don't, you're going to be mad as hell once you're done recording and realize you didn't pick up anyone's voices. It'll still pick up people in party chat, though, for Xbox. I'm not too sure about PlayStation. For the interface, all this is shown, of course. And yeah, that's the end of the sensitivities. Now let me go back to the aim response curve types and target aim assist modes, because I'm gonna go more into depth and I'm probably gonna show gameplay while I'm talking about it. So I'm gonna just go to the gameplay and explain it as I go along. Alrighty guys, we're in a game now. I'm first gonna talk about the aim assist types, and then I'm going to aim response curves. So this is standard. I'm on standard on both of them right now to show examples. So right now, I'm doing the target aim mode on standard. Standard and legacy aim assist are practically the same. There's not really much of a difference when it comes to standard and legacy. The only difference is that legacy has less of a pull than standard. You guys can see what pull I'm talking about. So you guys are going to see when I get about maybe 4 meters, 3 meters away from the character, it's going to have a pull off. It's going to have a slowdown pull. As you guys seen, I'm going at the same pace, then it slows down when it gets about 3 meters to the character. Legacy and standard both have this. Precision and focusing do not have this, which I'm going to show you guys later on when I get into precision and focusing. But standard and legacy both have this pull before it gets to the opponent, about 3 meters away or so. So this is why you would want to run this for normal weapons like AR, submachine guns, LMGs and things like that, but you really wouldn't want to run this with sniping, because sniping is all about being on the opponent instantly. You're not going to want to aim at this wall because of the slow down target assist pool, because you might end up aiming over here, then you have to drag your sight onto the opponent, and at that time you're going to be dead or you're about to be dead. And I'm going to explain that in a minute, but just hear me out. Standard and legacy both have this pull, slow down pull before you get to the opponent. I'm going to show legacy real quick. You'll see the same slowdown pull. It's just not as strong as a pull as the standard, but they still have the same distance, about 3 meters away. Alright, now let me show you precision and focusing. Alright, we're on precision. Now watch this. You see, the slowdown is non-existent. It's non-existent from the 3 meter spot, and you guys saw it slow down right here every single time. Now watch it. You see, it only slows down when I'm on my opponent. Only on the opponent. Nowhere else. And this is why it'd be good for sniping, because if you aim in, it's locking on the opponent, and it's only locking on the opponent. It's not going to lock next to the opponent like it would do with standard, which is why standard had strong aim resistance, because it had such a big bubble. And the aim resist, I don't know why, but it had aim resist to where every time you got into someone's 3 meter bubble, it would push your sight the opposite direction. That's why people went from standard to legacy, because legacy didn't have that strong pull like standard did. It had a pull, but nowhere near as strong as standard. Which I don't know if they ever fixed target resist or not. But if they didn't, legacy is the best one to run if you're running regular weapons. But if they did, you can run standard or legacy. But if you're running a sniper, precision or focusing is the only one you want to go to, because it will aim only on your target and you won't get slowed down next to them. As you guys see, it only slows down on the opponent. Now I'm going to try focusing. You guys going to see. Same thing. Focusing and precision are practically the same thing, bro. I don't really see a difference between them. I tested them both, and I don't really see a difference between focusing and precision. I don't see a difference at all. Like, legacy and standard are the same, and precision and focusing are the same in my opinion. The only difference between the legacy and standard is it doesn't have as strong as a pull. Standard has the strongest pull when you come close to an opponent. Alright, so that's the end of the target assist and the aim assist. Now we're going to get into the aim response curve type. The aim target assist mode back on standard. And I'm going to go to the aim response curve type. The aim response curve type for standard has a slight resistance compared to the others. The others don't have a resistance. The reason standard has a resistance is for more players that aren't as accurate and rely kind of on target assist. And it's to keep you on your target more, I guess you can say. Because standard has like a slight delay. and you have to pull your analog a little bit more before your character reacts in game. Standard has a slight delay / resistance to where if you slightly touch the analog, your character won't react in game. That's standard, which is why this is built for more precise gunfights for players that aren't very accurate. So that can be for new players or just players that aren't very accurate in general. You would want to use standard because it has a slight delay and it doesn't have the instant reaction like dynamic and linear have, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So for players that aren't very accurate or players that have like stick drift or shaky hands, standard is going to be the best one to run because you have to put a little bit more pressure and pull it a little bit more before the character reacts in game, for both vertical and horizontal. Now I'm going to show you linear. You're going to see linear has absolutely no delay. It's instant reaction all across the board, which is why if you're running linear, you have to be extremely accurate. I'm talking like you have to play as if you're on a mouse and keyboard. The reason I say linear is built for more extremely accurate players is because the slight movement in your analog will make your character move in-game. So your character moves at the same rate as your analog, which is why if you have shaky hands or sometimes you panic and you move, you're not going to be able to have good aim. You're going to miss a lot of your shots. So that's why linear will not be a good choice for you due to how fast it reacts and it moves at the same rate as your fingers do. And it requires extreme accuracy, and you can actually pull away from your own target assist due to how fast it moves. Sorry I had to show my video like this, but I had a face cam and I was doing it a show and tell style to where I was showing you how the aim response curve worked while moving my analogs to show you guys specifically, but my face cam decided to say hell with how you feel and it magically vanished from the face of the earth. I recorded it with the face cam and everything. I saw that it recorded, but once I ended the recording, poof, it vanished, thin air. So I kind of have to do it like this. I didn't want to, but this is how I gotta do it, and I don't have time to record another 30-minute gameplay on it, so here we are. I'm slightly touching my analog like I was doing before, and you still see the character moving in-game. Doing the same thing as I did before. Standard didn't really react until I pulled my analog a little bit too much, and it would pull that side. But this one, I'm slightly touching the analog. Even when I was on standard, it didn't move. This one is moving, and you see it in the game. Slight movement, and it reacts. It literally explains it as it does. Like, if you go to the settings, it literally says, linear is an aim stick mapped directly to the aim rate. The aim stick curve is the same as the aim rate. So, in other words, it reacts the same amount as your controller or your analog, and it reacts the same time as it does. So, it instantly reacts. The problem with this is that you have to be extremely accurate to stay on your opponent, because a slight touch out and you can come off your opponent. You can be shooting and you slightly touch, you're off your opponent already. Slight touch, off the opponent. Slightly touch, off the opponent. Just slightly touching it. So this is why linear would be very good for players that are extremely accurate. This is why if you're not very accurate, you have shaky hands or like stick drift or something, you probably don't want to run linear. I mean, you can adjust the dead zones to where you don't get stick drift, which if you have stick drift, definitely adjust your dead zones. But if you have like shaky hands or you kind of panic a lot in gunfights, you're not going to want to run linear due to how fast it reacts. And you can easily lose sight of your opponent, as you guys see. That's linear. For instant reaction and extreme accuracy. Now, I'm going to go into dynamic. Dynamic is the same as linear, but the opposite of standard. So you know how I said standard has a delay when it reacts? Standard has a delay when it reacts, and it also has a delay with response. But dynamic does not have that. Dynamic has an instant reaction like linear. Dynamic is like linear. A slight touch, and the character moves in the game, bruh. Slight touch, you guys see. The character moves in-game. So it's the same as linear when it comes to that. The difference is standard has a slower reaction, but gradually gets faster as you move the analog all the way across. But dynamic is the opposite. Dynamic doesn't have a slow reaction, and it gradually slows a little bit as the more you pull across. So it smoothens out. And that's why pros use dynamic, so they can have faster reaction and it instantly reacts in game rather than standard having the delay. So that's why they run dynamic, to have the instant reaction while also still having somewhat of accuracy. And they're also trying to rely on the strong target assist slowdown, where it goes instantly from 0 to 100 like linear, and it only stays like that the entire time. Linear will be 0 to 100 all the way across. Standard will be 0 to 100 after it completely and fully excels, to where your analog is all the way stretched across your controller. That's where it goes 0 to 100, or should I say just to 100. Dynamic is extremely fast and smoothens out as you pull your analog across, all the way across. Dynamic is like 100 to 50 because it slows down as you stretch your analog across. That's why they're running dynamic. They don't want to run linear because it's harder to control due to its constant instant movement all the way across. Dynamic has the instant movement only in small quarters, but has to slow down and smoothen out as you go all the way across, if you guys understand what I'm saying. So slight movement. Dynamic's fast like linear, but when you go, as you guys can see, it's not as fast as it was when I was moving like this. It slows down as I'm going all the way across, and it smoothens out, so you can still be precise like it is with standard. So if you guys are accurate, and you can stay on your opponents, and you guys like the smooth out, then dynamic's the better one for you. If you guys want to play like it's a mouse, then you would probably want to play on linear, because it's extremely fast all the way across. And standard has the delay, and to where you have to put a little bit more pressure to the right, left, or up and down before the character reacts. So that's better for more precise gameplay and players that aren't as accurate and kind of have shaky fingers and panic a lot while in gunfights. So that's standard, linear, and dynamic. Now these things are all very important depending on which ones you pair them up with and your sensitivity. So as I was explaining before, for the aim response curve type, you're only going to want to play on standard and legacy. If you're on regular weapons, if you're snipers, go to precision and focusing. Don't change those. Sniping, precision, focusing. Normal weapons, standard, legacy. So say if you're running, I don't know, the AK like I'm doing right now, and you're running legacy. The best aim response curve type is now up to you. If you guys are less accurate and you're relying on the target assist pull and you have shaky fingers and things like that, you're going to want to run standard and legacy. Legacy is for the strong slowdown like standard. You can run standard, but I don't know if standard still has the strong aim resistance. If standard still has a strong aim resistance, then you're going to want to go to legacy, because legacy is not as strong as standard. So that's why I always run legacy, because I don't want to get that strong target assist resistance, which I think is still in the game in my opinion. So that's why I always run legacy. For the standard type, as I said, it has a slower reaction. So since it has a slower reaction and more of a delay, you can run a higher sensitivity. Since you have to put a little bit more into your analog if an opponent's moving, then you can have a higher sensitivity. Even with that delay, you can still catch up to your opponent, because you're not going to want to have standard and a slow and low sensitivity, because now you have the slow delay reaction because the aim response curve type. With standard, like I said, slight movement is not really picked up on standard aim response curve. So if you have a slow ADS and that standard, then it's going to be harder to catch up because you have a delay when starting to move, and you have a slow sensitivity. So you're not going to catch up with your opponent, and you're going to end up getting killed. So that's why I say if you run standard aim response curve type, you're going to want a higher sensitivity. Just try out the sensitivities in custom games, bro. Everyone's sense is different, so all you have to really focus on is what aim response curve type you're using. That's the key. If you're running standard, then you're going to want to base your horizontal and vertical off of that. Like I said, regular weapon, standard, legacy, either one of those. I don't know if standard still has the aim resist. If it does, go with legacy. And if you're running standard, then you have to adjust the settings that best suits you. You can test it 7.5 right now. If it's too fast, then lower it. If it's too slow, higher it. But it's all based around, I say, is the aim response curve type. You have to figure this out. This is the #1 step. Figure this out, which one you're running. The more precise curve, to where you're not as accurate and you have shaky hands, you figure out you want to go standard. Now you want to adjust your sensitivity to that. You want to test it out in custom games, see that it's good and it best suits you. You feel it's too slow, boost the sensitivity, whether that's the ADS sense or the horizontal sense. It's up to you. You have to adjust that as well. You don't want your ADS's low zoom too high to the point, because you'll still be zooming across. As you guys can see, this is 0.8. It's still decent, but let me show you if I go to 1.0. Watch the speed. You see the speed is significantly different, and it will get the slowdown pull, but it'll be harder to stay on target since the ADS zoom is so high. Even though I have on legacy and it slows down when I get to the opponent, it'll be still harder to control because the ADS sense is so high. So that's why I say the best ADS sense really to run is a 0.8 or a 0.75. You're probably going to want to run a higher ADS if you're running standard and a lower ADS if you're running dynamic or linear, due to, since dynamic and linear have instant responses, if your ADS is too fast then you won't be able to stay on target, but if your ADS is too low for standard, then you're not going to be able to keep up with your target. So that's why I say standard should have a higher ADS and dynamic and linear should have a lower ADS, so you can stay on target and still benefit from those aim response curve types. But it really comes down to what you're comfortable with and what you can control, so go off of that. And then you want to adjust your settings based off of that. So after you figure out your aim response curve type, aim assist mode, now you have to start figuring out what sensitivity you want. So you have to adjust that in settings, and you have to test it out in custom games, or you can even test out online games to see what you like best. This is what I run. I run dynamic and I run legacy for my aim assist mode, and I run 7.5 or 8.5. It's just up to you. Figure out what best suits you for the horizontal vertical sense. For the ADS sense, you usually want somewhere between 0.75 to 0.9. 0.9 might even be too high, but you know, everyone's different. You don't really want a 1.0 because it'll be moving the same speed as your horizontal and it might be too fast to control. So that's why I say you don't want to be over a 0.1 or even at 0.1. But yeah, anyways, if this helped you guys out, drop a like, and if you guys have any more questions, then leave it down in the comments. I don't know if I confused you guys or if you guys understood it. It was just kind of hard as hell to describe to the point where everyone can understand. Like, I know what I'm saying and I know what everything's going on, but it might not be easy for you to comprehend what I'm saying. So if you guys are having any issues, leave it down in the comments and I'll try my best to explain it, because it's kind of complicated to describe, no cap. But yeah, anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to slap on the post notifications so you miss the latest and greatest videos. And I'll see you later, guys. Peace.